Take us off your mailing list.
That's just two.
Well, more than okay.
It is 7:05. We'll call this meeting to order. Would everybody please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
2 weeks.
Done that a couple of times, huh? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moment of silence, please. Thanks very much. I need a motion to approve the school board meeting minutes of November 19, 2012.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second, please?
Second.
Keith seconds. Changes, deletions, additions, corrections. Seeing none. All in favor of approving the minutes as presented?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Jen, Philip, and Jenny are all abstaining. Correspondence?
Correspondence, 2 letters, one from the Dunbarton Board and one from the New Boston Board.
I'll pass these around for you to look at. Commendations and good news.
I just have one from Maple. Student Council is going to be collecting pajamas to donate to the Warmth from the Mill Yard project. The children's pajamas of all sizes are welcome, and our goal is to collect 230 sets of pajamas, and the timelines from November 28th to December 14th. And to kind of inspire some excitement about the project for our December Student Council Spirit Day at Maple Avenue, the community will all be wearing our pajamas on this Thursday the 6th.
Terrific. Somebody there to take pictures?
I hope so. I'm sure there will be.
Well, you volunteer to take them, that way you won't be in them.
We have a few things from MVMS. The turkey trot results were pretty impressive. We collected 2,683 non-perishables in only 5 days, which is pretty impressive. Team 8-1, that's the team I reported out last time. They're doing a lot of philanthropy and community service hours. They collected 698 cans themselves, which is really impressive. The closest that came to that was 8-3 with 501 cans. So they did a really good job. We have some winter concerts coming up for the band, chorus, and string orchestra. So December 11th and 12th at 7 at MVMS. teacher conferences are coming up this Friday. They're pretty booked, which is nice to see. Parents coming out. Boys A and B basketball both played games tonight against Milford, and girls B teams were playing tonight against Wyndham. They had really large tryouts, so it's nice to see high levels of participation amongst our students. And sort of big news for the whole school, last Wednesday for the PBIS committee, which is Pause Pride, as the kids know it at our school, we did a rollout of the official rollout of the hallway. Expectations and core values were taught in a lesson that the entire school taught. So cafeteria workers, custodians, support staff, everyone was in a classroom, everyone was assigned somewhere. And I mean, I had like 3 other people in my classroom that morning. And so that morning from 8:30, some went a little longer, to about 9 o'clock, let's say. Everyone had wrapped up by 9. The whole school taught the same lesson on what good hallway behavior looks like and what our expectations are in the hallway. We did some role modeling and demonstrations and really talked about why we want to see those things in our school, and had a lot of student participation in those discussions. Feedback from teachers is that it went fantastic. In this week, we're doing some positive reinforcement with all grade levels. That'll continue throughout this week. And then at the end of the week, we're going to be doing some grade level and team level celebrations for the whole school to sort of congratulate them on their really good work. They're doing a fantastic job, and I encourage you to come by and check out the work that they're doing.
Thanks very much. That's terrific news. So it certainly is about behavior. It certainly is about expectations, but it sounds as though you're building a culture as well as dealing with a program called PBIS.
Yeah, truly we are. It's a wonderful thing to see, and I know you've heard this before, but it truly is amazing how quickly these positive changes are taking place. The kids are just fantastic, and we have a lot of kids that move about that building. So to keep those hallways nice and orderly, safe for our students, and clean, it's great, and we're really looking forward to the rollouts in the other 3 areas. I think by the end of the year, MVMS will really be a fantastic, positive place as far as in those core areas.
Terrific. Thank you very much. Any other?
All right, well, this past weekend for sports, wrestling had their annual home meets. They call it a brawl, a home grizzly brawl, I guess. It was a little rough, but they did have a couple really good wins, and there were also a couple people missing, but they will have their next home meet Wednesday, so it'd be good to support them in that.
What time's the meet, do you know?
I think it's 4. I think so. For clubs, Model Congress went to Yale recently. They do that, I think, every year. And they took 16 members, and it was really successful, and it's a really great opportunity for the kids because it's a live debate, and it's really, a lot of people have said good things about it. For student council, the canned food drive update, flyers are ready to be passed around the public, so the public will have, will know what's going on at GHS. So the items of the day are all set, and we've decided to put signs up at House Pharmacy just for another sort of notice, so more public will know about it. Also, for student council, I wanted to mention that the new librarian came and gave student council a visit. She had a lot of ideas that she's been working on through the course of the year, and she wanted our student input. And so she came to us and talked about her ideas, what has worked, what hasn't worked so far, and things she's thinking of in the future. So it was really good for her to come in and ask for our input, and the students also had good feedback for her, both as experience and what they thought would happen if she put in certain, you know, changes in the library, and she has a lot of good ideas, and I just thought it was great that she came to us like that. So
Terrific.
that's it.
Now, I have a quick question for you. I know that you rely on a notepad each week to tell us about things. Do you save those
Yes.
from week to week?
Yeah.
So if we needed to get sort of a compendium of good news, we could ask you for that?
Yeah.
Because great, terrific. Thank you. I had a sneaky suspicion the answer would be yes, but thank you for the fact that it is a yes.
Yes.
Any other good news or commendations?
I've got some good news. On Saturday, Maple Avenue's parent group had their annual holiday breakfast, and it was very well turned out. They do that every year, and it's a community builder. It's an all-you-can-eat pancake breakfast, and they have a little workshop in the library. 270 some odd people came and joined us, which was nice, and I thought it was interesting, and good news in particular is that we had a few more members of the public who don't have a relationship with the school, who just turned out to be part of it and to support the school, which I thought was really great.
Terrific. Any other commendations and good news?
I read the poster that was sent to us above the art club's jewelry sale.
Yeah.
There looked like some really lovely things that they have for sale. And I believe it's this Thursday and Friday, 10 to 2.
It's in the superintendent's notes.
And then the next Friday,
6th
2
and
to 6.
14th.
Okay.
6th and 14th from 2 to 6, and then the 7th from 12 to
12 to
6.
6. In the art room, I believe.
Yeah, A1.
So if anyone's interested in Christmas presents, that sounds like
Even Stacy went shopping there last year and walked away with a lot of good
Yeah,
buys.
she did.
Yeah, I went
So,
last year as well. It was good stuff.
I just want to know how much bling she brought for herself.
We don't
More
keep-
than she gave away, I
we
think
don't
is the
keep
answer.
track of that.
That's terrific. So Students' Works will be available for sale at those times,
Yeah.
and they're going to hold that in the art room?
Mhm. And I believe it's a fundraiser for them as well.
Excuse me.
Terrific. Any other good news or commendations? Seeing none. We will move on to public comment. None? Thanks very much. Standing committee reports, Human Resources?
Yep, we met last Monday, began some discussions with the athletic regulations. Our next meeting is next Monday, which will be held here, since C&E will be here as well, so HR will meet at 5:30.
What do you mean by athletic regulations?
It was some very old language in the forms that isn't what we're actually doing. It has names of people who are not here anymore. It's mostly just kind of cleanup of that sort of stuff.
I see. Cool. Thank you.
Planning and Communications.
We did not achieve quorum tonight. We did not have a meeting. Looking at the calendar, I would say our next meeting will stick with the first Monday in January that we are here. We will have our next meeting.
Okay. Curriculum and Education.
Our next meeting is next Monday at 7. This is the ongoing advertised meeting that we've had to reschedule due to so many conflicts with other meetings. So that will in fact happen next Monday, December 10th at 7.
Okay. And an invitation has gone out to New Boston and Dunbar?
Yes.
Area Planning Committee report. I'm pleased to tell you that while the ink is not dry, there is a tentative agreement that all of the people at that table will review to wordsmith. Hopefully that will result in a meeting in the not too distant future. The date we're still trying to get squared away. And we will come back to you with an agreement that the board can then support. It has taken an enormous amount of time and effort and energy. I think the superintendent counted 44 meetings. Thanks to Ginny and Dan for saving us.
It was 49.
49.
And yourself.
Thank you for all the hard work to everyone. Eventually, I think that what happened was that everybody recognized that there were obstacles we couldn't overcome, and everybody at the table took leaps of faith, and we got there. So again, thank you for all of your hard work, and thanks to Dunbarton and New Boston for their efforts as well. And hopefully, when all is said and done, we'll find ourselves with an area agreement on the ballot in March, which will pass in all of the communities, and we will continue to work together in the same way we have for most of 40 years. Elementary Facility Committee.
Did you skip budget committee for any?
Oh, no, I didn't. I missed it. I was.
That would be okay with me, but.
That was not intentional. Diane?
Budget committee,
10-1.
all right. Been meeting now since we've last met, I believe, because we had the Thanksgiving holiday, 3 meetings. During one, we did address the town budget a bit, but the last 2 nights, 3 nights, I guess, because we had the presentation of the school board's budget on a Tuesday, and there was some deliberation, then we deliberated both Tuesday and Thursday night. I think it's important, I mean, the committee, the way Peter Georganis, the chair, runs the meetings, he really facilitates very open dialogue, a lot of questions, a lot of conversation is taking place. I also want to thank the administrators, the principals. We've had tech there, we've had Steve Fountain from athletics, we've had the principals from the schools there, assistant principals. It really, everybody's there, and it has been a very open dialogue. They've all been asked questions and been given the opportunity to speak to the budget items that they should be speaking to, you know, that are particular to their school. So that's gone very well. According to my math, they have made in the area of $330,000 worth of cuts to our budget. That includes the new math books at GHS, the math books at MVMS. They have level funded field trips at Maple Avenue, although not so at Bartlett, and I believe they also did that at GHS. The request for the classroom books at Maple and Bartlett have been reduced. The world language teacher we were looking to put in a Mountain View has been reduced, as was the math teacher here at GHS. The tech position that we were looking for, and the MST line was at $189,000. That was reduced to $165,000. So if my math is correct, we are looking slightly above 330, I would say, in those lines. The conversation is not done. Tomorrow we pick up the town budget. But if I do understand our schedule correctly, there were some questions about it at the end of Thursday's meeting, which was quite long. I believe we pick up Glen Lake and the district on Thursday, is my understanding, unless anything changed after the fact that we pick up. So we're not done just yet. I don't know if any of you have been watching, but I really can't stress enough the amount of conversation and questions that are taking place at the table. It really is free-flowing. I do have a question for you all, just once again. I asked it 2 weeks ago, and I will just ask again in case anybody's thought about it. As we do take up the town budget, do you have any direction for me?
I don't know, maybe. Just out of curiosity, have you seen enough of the town budget at this juncture to have had any discussion over warrant articles? Or has it been just discussion of individual department budgets?
Discussion of individual department budgets.
Okay.
The presentations are done, and there was some discussion, but unless my something is slipping my mind, Philip. No, we have not done that, but like I said, that starts tomorrow. Do you have any questions?
I see
If you're uncomfortable, I think all you can do is vote your conscience or abstain.
You know, it's not so much that I'm uncomfortable, but I'm just somebody who is always like watching and learning and questioning, you know, and this is my first year on the committee. I've followed what you've done, Suzanne, in the past, what you, Jen, have done in the past, and I also have, through the course of this time, watched the selectmen's reps, since they are the other appointed from a governing board, and I did find it noteworthy that our selectmen's rep did take a leadership role as far as initiating many of these reductions that we are seeing to our budget. I'm just always thinking, is that my role? Is that what I'm there to? Not really, you know, just how do I advocate for the school board?
I will say, when I was on the budget committee as a representative from the school board, I never took an active role in either promoting or trying to make cuts to the town side.
Mm-hmm.
I did vote my conscience, but I was never proactive on trying to get either or. I tried to remain fairly neutral.
Mm.
Same here.
I know, that's what I've observed.
That would be the way I would go.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's our business to start getting into somebody else's budget.
Well,
Because we don't know their
Well, we-
budget and we know our
No.
budget, and I
We
think it's
could,
only.
but I guess that I've never felt that's good politics or
No.
good relationship
I
building.
believe they do their job, try to do their job as hard as we try to do ours.
Yeah.
And they bring forth a budget that they feel they need.
It's where my
As we do.
instincts lie,
Yeah.
but like I said, where I am there representing you, I wanted to allow for this discussion.
And
Like-
And your
I think
feedback.
they have one spokesperson who does like to kind of get into it and control a lot of things, and I don't think that we really take on that role of trying to control our stuff and their stuff.
I don't feel comfortable with us doing that.
yeah, I think in fairness, I think that unless as a member of the community, you had more information than the average member, that it would be bad practice for the school board to look at the size of the community and the number of policemen, or the size of the community and the number of firemen, or the number of houses in the community and the number of firemen or fire stations, and weigh in on things that really are not our purview. We shouldn't be, unless we have knowledge, substituting school board's judgment over the needs of other departments in the community, you know. I think that would be bad practice. If you have knowledge that is equal to the departments or to the presenters, then I think you're on pretty stable ground. If as a member of the community, you have a question about something, then you ought to be able to ask it, and you should ask it. And you're entitled to an answer just like everybody else at the table is. But I suspect that the folks at that table rely upon the school board and the administration to help them understand the needs of the buildings, the needs of the students, and educational policy, rather than substituting their judgment for that of the administration and for that of the board, who's more intimately acquainted than are the other people at the table, simply as an artifact of that's what those people do every day. That's all.
I have a comment too. I think it speaks to our budget that we've done a lot of thinking and a lot of work on our cuts, and the cuts that they're proposing are staff and textbooks, which are usually the areas you don't touch. I don't hear that they're pulling stuff like maintenance and machines and those kinds of things.
Some of
So
that stuff too.
I think it goes to show that, you know, our budget was pretty minimal when it went in.
Which reminds me, they did ask during our discussions on Thursday, the topic of the roof at Mountain View came up. And further the question of how solid that $200,000 quote that Jerry had was, and they have an interest and have asked me to pass on to you the interest in having Jerry secure 3 quotes to further verify the validity of that.
So what they're asking for is 3 quotes for a project that will be done when that budget is in place.
Yes.
Which would
be
probably,
a
in all
year or so
likelihood,
away.
would be
18 months
the,
away.
well, yeah, because we're talking, I don't think they're gonna do it in January, February,
No,
March,
18
or
months
April.
away.
The budget starts in
July.
July.
Mhm.
Some question as to whether or not it maybe gets done then, maybe not. I'm not sure how reliable that information is gonna be.
And there was significant discussion about that, and I would agree. I'm not sure how reliable that will be, but nonetheless, that was the nature of the conversation. That is, in fact, the request that was concluded, was to put that request forward with full understanding that this was going to be work that was going to be done months out. So, do we as a board, are we agreeable to directing Jerry to securing?
I'm not sure that we as a board need to direct that.
Okay.
And I'm also not sure that without having a dialogue,
Mhm.
that it makes sense to commit to directing anything like that.
I have to tell you, the product that we're using up there is an asphalt-based product, which is very volatile to the price of oil. All we do, I think, is the best guesstimate at this point. And if we've overestimated, the money will be available either for another major expense or returned. You're talking a year, we're projecting out a year, and,
We understand.
They
There-
also
there is
expressed
understanding there.
an interest in finding out how much more it would cost to go to a better grade product that would last more than 20 years.
Mhm.
oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, there was that, but
And
There
it
was that
seemed, when I
conversation.
got through throwing things at my TV, my husband and I are both sitting there popping stuff.
Well, you
It seemed like they were saying that they might be willing to go for a higher price for a more durable product.
I understood there to be support around that concept as well, but we need to know.
So, and I don't know if that got passed, Jerry was there,
Well,
wasn't he?
Jerry was there, yes,
Yeah,
so
but
Jerry
didn't-
had that.
But Jerry's already going with a better shingle than we currently have, is he not? I thought he was going
We
with.
don't know.
The other possibility is a metal roof. We've explored that option
yeah.
before on another building, and in the grand scheme of things, at least the last time we looked at it, it was prohibitively expensive.
Yes. But it
Um,
lasts
and
3 times as long.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so you pay me now or pay me later, I mean, yeah.
But we don't wanna cut all kinds of student stuff out of the budget so that we can put that in and still have our tax rate not increase too much, you know what I mean? There's that balance that you have to do too.
Mhm.
So what am I reporting back then regarding,
I
Because we
think,
meet
I think it's
tomorrow.
fair to try to talk to Jerry or have somebody from the SAU talk to Jerry and get more information on what type of shingles he's putting down. Is it currently the same grade we have, or is he upgrading the shingles? So you can give them a little bit more information. And maybe Jerry probably has a rough idea what it would cost if we're doing the same shingles, how much it would cost to go to a better shingle.
right, I mean, Jerry did speak to it. Jerry did speak for some time to the roofing issue. Jerry did express that he felt confident in the rate that he gave. Nonetheless, the conclusion from the discussion was they're looking to have that number confirmed with 3 different.
I mean, most quotes are only good for a certain amount of time, 3
Right,
months,
and
6 months,
I believe
whatever.
there's an understanding there as well. I believe that
Sin
there
to
is an
waste people's time
understanding.
like that.
So,
Um,
but
In fairness, we got a pretty good idea how many squares it's gonna take to do the roof.
Yeah,
we do,
Oh, yeah,
we do.
because
You know how big it is.
you
Can
know
they
what the
measure?
size of the roof is,
Yep, we have the sizing.
you know, I mean,
So,
but there are a bunch of things that you can't control.
mhm.
The price of the shingles.
right?
Oh,
So,
And
I
labor.
know.
Labor's down right now. It
so
could
to
be
the
back up.
extent that we can talk about the stability of the cost as we know it today, I think we can probably try to do something in that vein, and we'll do our best for 24 hours.
Okay, thank you. And then I think that sums up my portion of the program.
Thanks very much. Elementary Facility Committee report.
We have our newly elected chair of the committee with us this evening, Tony DeFranco. Tony, I'm wondering if you'd like to just give the board a quick brief on the work that was accomplished last Thursday?
Sure. Basically, last Thursday, we met with the vice president and the lead estimator for Harvey Construction. They went over some of the details again to refresh us. It's been a little while since we've met. And we're strategizing on how to get the word out to the general public to let them understand that this is something good for Goffstown, good for the schools. It's going to attract more people to the schools. Ultimately, I do believe it's going to save a lot of money for the school system to add on to both the Bartlett and the Maple Ave school system. So our next meeting is tomorrow night, actually. It's to brainstorm how to get everybody in the community involved and get the information out there to everybody. That's in a nutshell. Any questions?
Okay, and to the committee's credit, are these dates all correct? 12/4, 13/19, 1/8, and 1/15?
Yep, that is correct.
Thank you very much for that.
They are all at 7 p.m. In the info center
Okay.
here at Goffstown High School.
Terrific.
The info center or the.
We're gonna be in the conference room.
Or the
Conference room.
principal's conference room.
They're here.
That change.
This room is the one that's been reserved.
Okay.
Do you not want to use it in there so they don't have to spend the labor to move chairs around and tables around?
I mean, the committee fits in that room.
Mhm.
I mean,
It's close enough, we can decide.
just put a little sign on the door so I know where to go tomorrow night.
We'll leave some breadcrumbs out.
Yeah, there you go. No, they're too busy cleaning it. I'll never find the breadcrumbs. They'll be gone.
Tony, thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Superintendent's report.
Stacy did not give me anything to share with you, so I have none.
Oh, I like those reports.
Brief.
You know what they call
Tell
that?
Stacy
Drawing
this
to
is-
an inside straight.
Brian, if you would be so kind on behalf of the board to tell Stacy that we found her report to be very concise and brief, and we really appreciated it this week.
I will be happy to pass that along.
Tell her it was amazing how brief it was.
A&F.
We met real quick tonight. The only thing that we had to talk about, for the two things of concern that we'll probably talk about on the agenda, otherwise, it's the next thing, which is the manifest and vouchers. And the other is the report that you were handed that talks about the Honeywell savings.
All right. Do you want to bring forward the manifest?
I'll do 3A. The manifest for this time is under $1 million.
Wow.
971,789. Of that, payroll is the majority, 706,453. There were two sped expenses, one for transportation at 6140, and another for the Merrimack Sped Collaborative, 9794. General expenses, oil for MVMS, 6774. They replaced some of the exterior doors and vision kits. You see the thing called vision kits, that's where they cut that opening in. It's a little window, so you can see through it. So when you open up the door, you don't whack someone on the other side, hopefully. That's a big expense, and by the way, that was an encumbrance from last year that came forward that we said we would fund for those. That's $14,978. The copy machines for the entire district, $73.96, and the big SAU assessment, $112,358. Invoices underneath the 5,000 were $107,898, and that brings us to the total of $971,789.
Any questions?
I'll move that number.
Is there a second? Jeannie seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Or unanimous? Honeywell.
Okay, as Dan had indicated, each of you should have a copy of the Year 7 results for the Phase 1 Honeywell program. Again, another successful year. There was a total of $228,594 in cost avoidance savings. with a guaranteed savings amount of $89,339. So what we're seeing is, again, cost avoidance in excess of $139,000 over forecast. Another successful year.
So if last year had been an average winter, this number probably would have been about 40% higher.
Yeah, more than likely. The total cumulative position now, after 7 years, is a savings level of 451.9K over the guaranteed amount that Honeywell had provided back in 2003. So we have total cost avoidance of just over $1 million with a guaranteed savings amount of $625,000. So we're looking at 451K over and above their forecast.
Is it safe to say that most of that is due to the increased cost of utilities?
Yep.
Thank you. We made a very wise investment.
We did. Which should hopefully make everybody more comfortable about phase 2 that we're evaluating right now.
Do you remember what the guarantee for the life was?
It should be in your report.
I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me.
Okay.
Was it between like 1.1?
Yeah,
Believe
so-
it was, yes.
So in 7 years,
Yeah,
we've hit that
over
mark.
$1 million.
And that actually was the point I was
77,000?
directed
Yeah.
towards. Okay. We've done manifesting vouchers. Appointment of,
We gotta do the calendar.
Calendar?
oh.
Yeah,
Right
right there.
The calendar?
You just got
I'm sorry,
excited and
crossed out
checked
the
it
wrong
off.
one. I thought that was
Honeywell.
Honeywell, yes. District calendar.
Board members should have received in your packets the calendar that was presented to you at the last meeting.
Were there any adjustments to it? I didn't see a change.
I don't believe there were any changes requested of the board.
I just looked at it quickly, and it looked like the same one I saw before.
Are we in a position where we need to adopt this yet?
I believe that's what she would like you to do, if the board's in a position to do that.
I guess the only question.
Or if there are any questions I can bring back.
13,
Can I ask a
14.
question? Have the other two boards reviewed it yet and given any feedback on it? About Dunbarton and New Boston?
I can't speak to Dunbarton. I believe they've been
They
presented.
have seen it, but there hasn't
They haven't
been
given any
a final
feedback yet?
vote on anything, right?
New Boston didn't have any feedback for us either, that you're aware of?
No.
Am I looking at the right calendar? It doesn't mention New Boston at the time? It's Goffstown and Dunbarton? It doesn't.
New
men-
Boston is
New
changed,
Boston
different by a
has its
day.
own
They
calendar.
have,
Okay.
they have
Okay.
one day that's different.
Okay,
Yeah.
Because in their teacher contract, they have an extra professional development day, so there's a slight variance
okay.
in their calendar.
So,
If
can
perchance.
can this change if it needs to? Once we've adopted it?
I believe it
Sure.
could if the board's pleasure was to change the calendar.
Well, I just think that if there's the potential for starting before September 1st, potential. So,
So,
I think at this time, we can't say whether, we're at an impasse with the GEA, and one of our requests was an earlier start date. But with the impasse currently, we don't know if that's gonna be successful.
potentially, it could be.
That's
Well,
true.
and,
And I guess, I kind of feel that,
And it
If
would
we
find
could
us up
wait a
better
little
with
while-
Manchester and whatnot.
right, it'll line us up with Manchester much better. I guess my question is can this wait until we do mediation with the GEA to be able to determine if we could potentially change this calendar?
I don't believe that there's a drop-dead date that your calendar has to be approved by. I mean, given the fact that you have a pretty unique variable that could impact the calendar, I think if the board's pleasure was to wait another meeting,
I personally would like to request that we table it till the next meeting.
Because there's been no motion. If there's no objection,
Just put it on the next
Hold it
agenda.
onto the agenda
and
for
if
next
the
time.
administration doesn't reach over and grab my elbow and say, no, we don't want you to do that.
I just told him to elbow you, I didn't say grab you. I just told him to elbow you if you got out of hand.
Seeing no objections from the table, we'll revisit that and move it forward to our agenda for the next meeting. Appointment of elementary facility committee member.
Yes.
There's a-
Unfortunately, I had to step down.
Okay, there is a new community member that,
Oh, cool. I thought it was cool.
You haven't stepped down, you're just standing on the sidelines for a moment,
For a few moments.
until we drag you back.
there's a new community member that was introduced through the Bartlett School, Justin Souza. And Justin did attend the meeting with us on Thursday last week, and he has volunteered to serve on the committee, and we put his name in front of the board for acceptance.
I'll tell you, he had good input and everything at the meeting, and he came
Justin's a
well-prepared.
business person here in town.
Yes,
He is.
Sousa Signs?
yes.
Well, yes, yeah. I mean,
No, I just thought I
I
recognized the
make a
name.
motion
Yeah.
that we accept him as, appoint him to the committee. I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Suzanne seconded.
Suzanne seconded? Any further discussion?
Take all the help we can get.
Yeah, and he's a worker bee, so.
Terrific.
Super. Welcome, Justin.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Justin.
Abstentions, yes. Thank you. Welcome. Pencils, no erasers.
Okay. Story of my life.
Absolutely. Elementary facility project bond information.
Okay, very quickly on this one, the Harvey Construction did come back with what they're calling an initial GMP, which places the total project cost just under that which we were looking at last year. So we're still around the $15 million level. That includes soft costs for furniture, fixture, and equipment, probably in the range of 15 to 20%. So what we need to do here is to begin to, or we ask the board to begin thinking about what date they would like to put in place for the bond hearing, which is going to have to be conducted before January 15th. We will go back to the New Hampshire Municipal Bond Bank to get the latest feel for debt schedules. That will become the premise for the bond hearing. And again, we're going to be in and around the $15 million level. I'd ask the board to think about what they would like to use for a date for the bond hearing. I believe the committee, Tony, had zeroed in on January 15th meeting as, and devoting that to the bond hearing if we did go that way.
Schedule our meetings up into that date.
Right.
assuming.
It'll
That's
be,
the last possible date to have the hearing, though.
that's correct.
And we have to allow for a snow date by law, so we have to do, no, we have to do it earlier than that.
About the 10th,
I'm almost thinking, can't we do it on a school board meeting night in January, where we do it just before the meeting starts? So
But does somebody have our?
the 7th would be
It
our
would be
first
the
school board
7th.
meeting in
7th.
January.
Mhm.
and it gives you plenty of
That would be a
snow
good
days.
time to do it.
Right.
Last year, it took us about, with all of the questions that we got from the community, it took about 40 minutes to get through the hearing. So if we did start it at 6 o'clock or so, and we would have a presentation and
No,
handouts.
I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not sure, it might be too early for a lot of people to be able to attend. What time did we start it last year?
6.
We did? Oh, okay. All right.
6:30.
Compromise, do it 6:30.
Why don't we say 6:30 though?
I don't
Try to make
mind
this
pushing
convenient.
into our meeting a little bit if we need to.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll post for 6:30 and
Yeah,
7.
January's a pretty dull meeting.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to reschedule the
remember.
PNC meeting. We'll look at that.
Schools have been closed, though, nothing happened.
Yeah, that should be a
6:30.
small agenda day, yeah, you're right. Thank you for reminding me. I need
Okay.
a lot of that these like 2 days.
Yeah.
Ray, can I
Okay.
ask you to just make an explanation for the public on what hard costs are versus soft costs? I know we use that term a lot, but I don't know if we really explain to the viewers what that is, so they kind of know if they're watching our meeting.
sure. Hard costs are pretty much the brick and mortar in the program. This would be all of the ironwork, the site work. We would be also, literally all of the brick and the mortar to put buildings together. The hard costs would include all of the mechanical systems, plumbing systems, electrical systems, and then technology infrastructure. Soft costs, on the other hand, are pretty much, that's a term used to identify furniture that would go into the new classrooms, any fixtures, which would be, you name it,
Cabinets, tables.
counters, cabinets, desks, that sort of thing. And then equipment, if we were going to be, or if we needed to consider, for example, any of the security cameras,
Floor buffer,
systems,
things like that.
that sort of thing, to maintain the new building. Also included in the soft costs would be a contingency that the school district would want to put together to kind of guard against unexpected expenses, and have a vehicle to be able to address those. And would also include builder's risk insurance. More than likely, we would want to go out and buy ourselves an insurance policy on this new construction.
Which we've done in all our previous bonds.
And finally, if the school district decides to go out and hire a clerk of the works, that also would be included in the soft cost portion of the estimate. So right now,
Kind of the easy way to describe it is if you took the building and you shook it upside down, everything that falls out is soft cost. Everything that's stuck in there is hard cost, kind of.
good way of putting it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ray. I just want people out there to kind of start understanding what we're talking about for numbers.
You know something? I might be able to pull that for you, Mike.
I might, give me a minute if you want to go to the next
We
agenda
will.
item.
Update for GEA and GESS negotiations?
Do you want me to do GESS right now?
Sure.
All right, GESS, we had come to an agreement with the GES union members. Unfortunately, since that agreement was reached, they have decided to retract their acceptance of it. And we are going to mediation at 3 o'clock this Wednesday afternoon. We hope that we can resurrect the agreement that we came to. We thought it was a very fair and appropriate one for both sides. And we'd like to present it to the voters. We think it's a good contract to present to the voters. So hopefully we'll have more news on that within the week.
So there was a tentative agreement, which means
The
that,
union reps came to an agreement, but the union itself did not accept it. They wanted it retracted.
was,
No, they didn't vote
hold
on
on.
it.
They didn't vote on it, but the consensus in the, I think a lot of what, well, I'm not
in
sure.
fairness,
Yeah,
in
we
fairness.
need to talk, we can't talk about this now.
Right.
Yeah.
Openly.
Because it sounds like we're going to rapidly head into the arena of speculation. There was a tentative agreement.
They withdrew it.
It appears that we're going to continue to deal with that
Yes, I think there's good hope that we can come up with something on Wednesday afternoon.
collective
Hey,
bargaining.
Keith,
Yes.
is it this Wednesday or next week Wednesday?
Oh, it's gotta be this week, isn't it?
Well,
I I
The
had it,
7th.
I had it on the 12th on my calendar, but I
No,
thought it was
I'm
this
sorry.
week. I thought it was
Stacy
this
was
week.
supposed to notify you that we were able to move it to this Wednesday, because we were trying to move things up for me.
Okay,
I got teacher mediation on the 12th.
Yes,
oh, so they swapped, okay.
they swapped it
So
around
it'll be the
because
5th.
GEA was not ready to go into mediation right away, but GESS was.
So GSS is tomorrow?
No.
Wednesday at 3 o'clock at the I asked for it to be at the SAU. That has not been confirmed back, but because of scheduling,
Yeah,
I really wanted to have it at SAU because we have other meetings
Sure.
and everything that need to be worked
Yeah, we
around
got
it.
that, we got
well,
a
if you
SAU
can
meeting
confirm that or
night.
have
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Brian can confirm that for me. Tomorrow, that'd be great.
I thought Stacy had sent out an email to that effect, but
She
I've
may
been
have, and I
having
missed
problems
it.
getting Stacy's emails.
She may have, and I missed it, so I
Okay.
will recheck that.
Okay.
GA negotiations are ongoing. It appears as though there will also be a mediation for that contract. Ultimately, the goal is to reach an agreement so that we can move forward. The school board wants there to be an agreement and believes that for there not to be one would not only hurt the unit, but also be unhelpful to the district.
absolutely. And we feel the same way about the GESS. We really feel that it's a detriment to the district if we don't come up with a contract with them.
Right. 2013 draft warrant.
The draft is in existence, however, it's way too early to introduce anything to you. We have no values to assign to any of the individual articles at this point.
Okay. Goffstown High School graduation date.
If I may,
Please. I'm sorry.
We've got the budget bill, the school, the elementary school. I'm trying to think of another one. Do we have another one, or is it just?
Two
those-
contracts.
Two
maybe.
contracts.
Potential for 2 contracts.
Right.
Yes.
And the area.
Oh, the area as well.
The area and the budget
So we have
itself.
5 of those.
But the area
Potential.
is not a moneyed warrant article.
Right, but it's a warrant article.
Yes, yes. Yep.
Okay.
Did you want to go back to the hooks up board questions?
And the bond article goes through.
I do. There continues to be a dialogue with the community of Hooksett because of their ongoing issues with where their students will land if they are unable to reach an agreement with the Manchester School District. Those meetings continue. There is an absolute effort to find a way to resolve whatever differences those districts have because of what largely centers around overcrowding. They have asked us several questions that I will present to you, but I don't know whether or not we're in a position to answer them at this time. How many students would we be able to accommodate? When would we be able to take Hooksett students? How would tuition costs be calculated? Do we have a 12-13 tuition rate based on whatever calculation is used? Duration of contract. Would Hooksett have any representation on the board or in district decision-making? Would you be able to offer a full range of SPED services? And how would we determine which students would fill which slots? Now, I believe that we could answer all of these things in some form, and so that, well, we aren't in a position, and neither are they in a position to make any thoughtful decisions, we could at least give them the framework. But I wanted the board to have the opportunity to weigh in on whether at this juncture it made sense to the board to be responsive to their inquiries, and I think we can do so.
I think it's imperative that we do. We have a financial obligation to our community. Should Dunbarton pull out, that we have started working on a plan to compensate for the extra seats in our school, as well as the decrease in our revenue stream.
Okay.
So I think we need to start keeping relationships going with Hooksett, because they are our best potential replacement for Dunbarton, should they leave.
Okay.
And
Then,
certainly, we're hoping that they don't.
Right, I'm just saying,
Yeah,
we
they're-
have a
yeah.
responsibility to our taxpayers
We
to
won't know until
to
March.
check.
right.
Yeah.
And in fairness, I believe that we can thoughtfully respond, that if they don't understand the dynamics already, we will frame our response for them in terms of those dynamics and say, here are the things that we know today. Here are the answers to your questions to the best of our ability, that we've answered to the best of our ability today. It's not a promise. It's not an indication of desire. This is where we are at today. If things change, this is what it would look like at the end of a runoff, I think, because still, one of the things that we understand is that there would be Dunbarton students who would still be in Goffstown schools.
Right, there would be a phase in each
Right.
way.
So I think we can provide a thoughtful response that's couched in a framework of where we are, makes no promises, but gives them an understanding of what their choices may look like over time.
I might also mention that after March, we'd be in a much better position
That's true.
to forecast what's
That's true.
available.
Right. Okay.
Now,
Then,
there's-
then that is what we will do.
So you'd like Stacy to respond to
Yeah. and-
Phil
and-
Littlefield?
Here's a couple of questions. What is the Department of Ed's legal standing for accepting students from another district? It could be through an area plan, it could be through a cooperative district, it could be for a straight tuition billing. And that almost seems like that's one of the questions. If it's a straight billing, how would we want to operate with the representation part of that?
I,
That was one of their questions. How
Well,
could they
it
get
is-
represented?
It is. I think that these are all in the context of what would an agreement look like. I think that in order for both a sending and a receiving district to have stability and be able to make judgments about budgeting, that the absence of an agreement is not something that benefits anybody.
Totally agree.
So I think it really
Needs to
does
be
come down to area or cooperative, and I don't know
Or it could
any
just be a
community.
contract,
Right, and I don't know, well, it certainly could be,
but they haven't registered.
it could be a tuition agreement. That's true.
The reason I mention that is we said we had 49 meetings already for an area agreement, and if we,
He
for
doesn't want
some
to start
reason,
again.
we would have to start again.
Well,
And
no, actually, I don't think we do, because I think the yeoman's
Could they?
work has occurred.
Right, but it would have to go to each district, I
It
would
would.
presume, and have, so
It would.
it's.
Or in the alternative, you
It's
might very
several.
well. I mean,
Okay.
I don't think a response here etches in stone any decisions that
Right, but I
that the
just wanted
parties
to make
might
sure
make.
that was brought up because there are alternatives.
Yes.
If we did a
absolutely.
straight tuition agreement, we would not have to go to New Boston for anything, but the
Right,
co-op
it's just-
area, we would,
Yes.
Right. And-
just so the public understands that.
And a
Yes.
cooperative, and a
Oh,
cooperative
who's going
district
to do that?
requires that people buy into your
Right.
buildings.
Yeah.
Right,
And-
and it's
and-
much more investment oriented. And it's
Gigantic.
owned by
Because,
multiple.
right,
Yes.
and
And
so,
at this
I'm
point,
not
I
sure
don't-
that that would ever be an option,
Right.
Yeah.
given the maturity of this district
Right.
and the maturity of the buildings, but, point well taken, thank you, Dan. So if we could respond,
Yep,
that would be
got it.
terrific.
Thank you.
Goffstown High School graduation day.
Had a conversation with Mr. McBride today, and he's been in communication with the folks from St. A's. And the current status as it plays out is Frank is looking at a graduation date of June 18th. Now, there are a couple of complications that Mr. McBride asked me to share with the board. They apparently have some kind of a big hockey tournament of some sort right around the 19th and 20th, that they were nervous about getting the arena ready for the ice hockey tournament. So I think the 18th is a little bit of a change from what the board had heard at your last meeting, I believe.
You-
Um,
We didn't talk about it.
Maybe
We
just
didn't talk about
tentatively, they were in the works looking at, I think, the 20th originally, but St. A's can't do that because of this hockey tournament. Now, if it was the 18th, that allows for 175 days for the seniors, which is the requirement. It only allows for 1 snow day.
We had it.
And we've already had
Close.
2.
One more snow day?
One more snow
additional?
day.
Oh, one more, okay.
Now, what Mr. McBride shared is he's open to being creative, that if there was a situation that something could be worked out, whether it was just for the seniors, that they could do a community service option.
Or a Saturday or something.
A Saturday, and Frank's very open to the ideas. He did talk about it would be a possibility that if something happened, they could look to do some equipment rentals and have graduation here. That would not be his preference, nor would moving to a venue such as the Verizon
Too expensive.
be something that Frank would really want to do. If we had to change based on unforeseen, unexpected snow days, St. A's would be willing to talk to us, and essentially, Frank indicated they would let us out of the contract that we would typically have with them. But it would be his recommendation to stay with St. A's. He does feel that that's an important part of the culture and the climate, and also the celebrations of Goffstown High School.
My question for you, is there a date available around the 20th, 21st, 22nd? I
I'm not
guess
sure.
I'm not sure why we're trying to squeeze it in before the tournament rather than putting it after the tournament.
Because that puts it a whole
We
other
finished.
week.
We finished on the school was done on the 23rd last year, right?
I think if you looked at high school graduations, the 20th or the 18th is very late
Yeah.
compared to other
Because the
schools.
18th is a Tuesday.
18th is
So-
Although I'm sure the seniors would love to come
Yeah.
back for an extra week of school.
They graduated on the 14th this
14th.
past year.
Yeah.
And BMS's promotion was on the 19th. So that could be part of it, Keith, as well, that
I'm
maybe
just
he's
concerned
trying to
only one
schedule
more
in.
snow
There's
day.
some
Well, we
moments
started
for
late this
promotion.
year, though.
Um,
I'm real concerned about one snow day. Chances of us having only one more snow day is pretty slim. If
Very
you look at the
slim.
number that we look at, the average for the years, we're probably stored for another 3. And that's a lot of,
That's a lot of Saturdays.
Yeah, I'm concerned about that. You know, I think,
You
we
can't
as a
go much
board
later.
have been sitting here and promoting that we want to increase academic rigor. So if we want to increase academic rigor, we can't say, well, it's so nice to let them graduate the times they want to graduate, so we're going to come up with some other alternative that may or may not be as rigorous academically. The message we want to send is academic rigor is our priority, I think. Being able to have your graduation at the time that you would like to, unfortunately, has to be secondary.
I agree with you in theory,
Except-
but these are seniors,
Right.
and their rigor is pretty much done by then. Their plans are made from where they're going.
It's getting close to being done now.
Right, right. But, so, if it's the whole school, then yes, I would say, we have to rethink it. But seriously, for seniors, they're doing a ton of work right now. They are completely hassled, stressed, and whatever, and if we can give them a graduation date and maybe hold them to a couple of Saturdays, like we've done before, that would be my thought, really.
Because people make plans months in advance.
I know.
And
Right.
maybe somebody's
And that's my
calling me
concern.
to,
Wait a second.
I don't want
Do
to
you have a
change
horse
it.
in
If we
this
set a
race?
date, my concern is if we set a date, I don't want to change it because they make so many plans in advance. So when he says we can get out of our contract for the 18th, that's fine and dandy. But I'm very concerned that these people have grandparents or other family members that will fly in, and I don't want to make a change 2 months, a month, or anything in advance. That, I don't. I'd be curious to hear what the student rep has to say on it.
Well, I was just gonna ask, how these Saturdays worked, in the past, what has happened and was it successful? What have they done for community service? Because, when you mentioned that, I didn't realize that was even an option, and I just thought that was kind of cool.
This,
I think
this
the-
board has handled dealing with missed days in missed communities for different groups of students in a host of different ways because we have a wonderfully creative and imaginative administration who's willing to be flexible. So what it will look like may not be what it did look like. I mean, in one instance, I think we added 18 minutes to the end of the day for 2 months.
We did that at Mountain View
And we
a couple years
cleared
ago.
up, and we
due to-
cleared up a problem, so.
From power outages.
So I think what we do is we look at the situation that we find ourselves in, the administration does, they come to the board, who takes all the credit for it, and tell us what the options are, and then one is adopted.
And
Because it
I would say
works.
frequently the students have some input into those,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
creative.
was just wondering
With-
specifically the Saturday.
I think you get, you get to your folks before they get to us folks.
What do you feel about when the graduation should occur? Do you feel that it's inappropriate for us to push it off till after their tournament? I'd like to get your opinion as a student.
No, I see why, like, it makes sense that you need to have the required amount of days, like, clearly
Yeah,
it
you're not
would be
gonna
a
get a
lot
waiver
more,
on
it would be a lot safer to do it afterwards, cause then you know that you're going to get the requirement and it's not gonna be as much of a hassle, but I do agree that when June comes around, like, even when you're not a senior, it's,
Yeah.
you know, summer's around the corner, it's just that much harder. But when you are a senior, most people know where they're going to college, you know, halfway through the school year, so just, you know, the pushing it off that much longer is probably hard, and I know the 14th last year, it just seems like that much farther away when you're graduating. So I can see where the students would come from, but I can also see the other side as well, so.
Well, you played the fields very well, thank you.
I wonder too how a Tuesday would work within the community, thinking of
I know.
post-graduation celebrations, whereas a Tuesday is a very different night than a Friday.
Yeah, we've always tried to do Thursday or Fridays. We really have. Just because of that purpose for family to come in.
Yeah, but we're worried about the parties afterwards.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Well, that's what I'm saying, the people that are coming in and everything. that
No,
everybody-
and we're talking about different kind of parties even.
Yeah, K-3 really.
Oh.
It's been a really long
Thank you,
time
Suzanne.
since people graduated.
Having graduated a long time ago from Goffstown High School, I need a little pride to remember what I did afterwards. Thank you. I'm sorry, I did not get that one.
No, you didn't,
Okay, your kids are still young, you'll get there.
so.
I remember what I did now, so yes, I understand why it was great for it to be on a Friday. Actually, I had it on a Saturday morning.
Mhm.
Yep, Saturday.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
So the question before us
And it was
is,
so damn hot.
does the administration go forward with the 18th?
I like the 18th.
What is the current target date of the last day of school?
19th it says here,
Well, with the, where?
right?
I don't know,
Found
for
the
this year,
calendar.
that's next year.
Oh, that's next year, sorry.
It's in the 20s.
Like, when was this?
23rd, maybe?
Something
I
about
think,
that.
I think if somebody could pull up
23rd is a
Stacy's
Sunday.
superintendent notes, just so I don't tell you the wrong date.
It's not there. I looked.
It's not there?
No,
She
pull up
usually
our
has that.
website, it's on our website, look under the
All right,
calendar.
I'll get on it.
I'm sorry, I just don't want to tell you the wrong date.
Yeah, because the wrath of Stacy, you know?
Well, and again, the premise
my mistake.
being that
Yep.
if we were looking at this, if there was the need to have some kind of a unique arrangement, it would primarily be targeted to the seniors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
My mistake, the current date is the target date is 24th.
24th.
June 24th.
I have to say, if we did the 18th, it would be on the caveat that the administration will have to do some type of special arrangements for the seniors. I do not want to be voting to change that date. I just think that we'll get too many complaints from families, it'll be too disruptive to the families. I think you know, Frank says, you know, we can always renegotiate, change the date. I don't really want to put that as an option on the table. I really want Frank to think that if we have to do the 18th and there's more snow days, he's gonna have to be creative.
And I believe, speaking on behalf of the high school administration, they're fully committed to do that.
Yeah,
It's
I
a deal.
don't like the idea
I
of
think they
changing it once
agree
it's
with
set.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're all on the same.
I'll
page.
move the 18th for graduation
Is there a
day.
second?
I'll second
All right.
All in favor? Opposed? Dan, was that a,
No, it was an aye.
that was an aye too? Okay. Abstentions? Were unanimous?
Mhm.
Okay. I had to double check, thank you.
It's just a
Um,
slow aye.
Is there anybody or somebody else would like to nominate to do the delegate assembly on 1/12/13 from 10 a.m. to 3? It's well worth going to.
It is, but
It's
I just
informative.
can't do it this year, but I would love to do it again maybe next year. because I haven't done it in a lot of years. It's great.
It is great. I enjoyed it
I've
last
done it a
year.
couple of years, did it last year.
Dan, this might be something I think you'd really enjoy doing it.
I would if it wasn't the middle of the budget preparation with the governor-elect.
We'll write you a note to the governor.
Actually, by then it'll be the governor.
We'll write you a note for the governor.
Write you a note.
An official letterhead and everything.
Yeah.
But
Well, that
I'm
would
pretty
actually
sure
go
that
to my
our
boss
embossed
first
stamp doesn't trump her
before.
embossed stamp.
No.
We go to my boss before it went to her, but.
I just like to have somebody go. I mean, I think it's a great experience,
It is a
especially.
great experience.
It's improved a lot since I used to go.
No, when I went, I thought it was good, so hopefully they must have improved it since you went.
Apparently.
How
I mean,
about
I
you
really
fly
liked
back
it.
for it?
I really
Yeah,
did
right,
like it
sure.
this year when I went. I thought it was a great way to spend the Saturday. I know that makes me a dork, but I
Wait a minute,
did.
who's not here
It's gotta be
tonight?
different than it used to be.
We're gonna make an appointment.
Is
Who's
one-
not here tonight?
That's not during the week?
No, it's a
No,
Saturday.
No,
it's on a
it's a Saturday.
Saturday.
Oh, well, then that's a possibility.
What is it?
I thought it was
again?
during the week.
January 12th.
All right, here's what it comes down to. There will be a bevy of resolutions that we'll see beforehand, that school boards, and we may introduce resolutions as well, but you'll see a bevy of resolutions that occur beforehand. Periodically, there are resolutions that come up at the time of the meeting. If the board has a particular feeling, they'll ask whoever goes to vote in a certain fashion, or they will leave it to that individual's discretion. You will get lots of good information about boards and board function. Typically, there is somebody there who's been doing it for at least a decade, who's gonna get up and talk to you about their experience. There also is very frequently a board who has done something novel, or unusual, or exceptional that gets presented at those meetings. It's a great opportunity to find out how narrow the silo is that we live in here in Goffstown, and to get a better appreciation for A, all boards have to go through this stuff, and B, oh, really, you're doing that? So you do, I mean, it's informative, it's instructive, it's a valuable experience, and maybe one of these days we'll get somebody appointed as a rep for the Southeast District.
It's a lot
Probably
of
doing
work.
it at the LGC?
It is.
It is. I will check tomorrow, to see what we expect, because there will be some weekends, but that's a
Okay.
month before it's due, so it's
Okay,
potentially a doable thing.
okay. I mean, Dan, if you can do it, I think you'd really find it a good experience. We will, why don't we say we'll make a decision at our next meeting, and we'll either Dan will find he has time on his calendar, or we'll twist somebody else's arm.
I just think the more people we have on our board that's attended, I think it's more advantageous to us.
Nominations. Thank you very much.
Before you this evening, you'll have a number of co-curricular nominations for different sports, specifically Timothy Doherty at Mountain View for girls basketball B, Amy Green, high school girls basketball freshman, and then the next three are volunteer positions, Martin Olivier, Darren Primo, and Derek Wong.
Now, I assume that the N next to it means they're new to the district. I know Timothy Doherty has been here before.
I believe they are new. I did look through their packets of information, and they do come with some pretty impressive coaching experience.
You still have B teams, huh?
We do,
Some people.
Not every sport.
just at Mountain View.
Yeah.
And when Jess talked about the tryouts of basketball, I was at Mountain View the afternoon they were having the first tryout, and the gym was packed. I can't remember the exact number. I'd have to get that from Mr. Garrity, but I want to say they must have had 60 kids. The gym was full.
Nice. Do we like our basketball?
Yeah, it was impressive.
I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Jeannie seconds. Any other questions?
What, do we know what the price is for the B team coach?
It's according to the-
If you look at the agreement and the contract, I don't have mine with me, I took it out of my briefcase, but if you look at the GEA agreement, it's right in the back of it.
Right, and it is not a, is it a stipend for the season?
Yes.
Okay,
Right.
probably a few $100s.
Yeah, for a B team, yeah.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion as presented? Opposed? Abstentions? We're unanimous.
2 student teachers before you this evening, both at Mountain View, working with Moss Burke and Lynn Tassi. We have Matthew Adams and Alexandra Murby, both from Keene State College.
We're both student teachers in mathematics.
In mathematics,
Awesome.
Terrific.
which is an area of need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's just an FYI,
And that's an
right?
FYI.
Yeah.
And
Student intern?
Yep.
Brian Oberti from Plymouth State is doing an internship with Mr. Martin, also at Mountain View.
Good.
for the semester or just for a quarter?
I believe it's for the spring semester.
Spring semester, okay, great. Any questions? Again, those are FYIs. We do not require a motion.
Thank you.
Let's see. Any other business that may legally come before the meeting?
Yeah, I have one. Since P&C had put me in charge of taking care of sending out letters and sending out thank yous and grievance cards and everything, there is another one that's come up today. Hank Boyle's brother died. I guess I'd like some feedback from the board as to what you would like me to send to them. For Marie Boyle, before she got very, very ill, we did do cards and flowers for Marie while she was still able to appreciate them. I don't know what you'd like to see me do for Hank, because of his brother. I'm more than glad to go out and get a card, not use one of our generic ones that we have, but go out and get a special card for him for that. But I didn't know if anybody had any other feedback as to a message we want to send or include something with it.
I don't think we can do enough. To the extent that, I suppose if anybody individually would like to sign the card,
I can make the card available at the SAU
okay.
for people who want to sign it. Would that make
Yeah.
people happy?
Why don't-
Normally I
Well, not
sign
gonna
on
make us
behalf of the
happy,
board,
but
but
it'd be better.
this is, really close to home. I
Better
thought.
than just putting Goffstown School Board down.
Right.
Yeah, I
That's-
think I'd like the opportunity.
Yeah, so,
Okay, I will buy the card tomorrow and get it over to the SAU by the end of the, how about we expect it to be there Wednesday, Thursday, and sometime on Friday, we'll get it mailed?
Well, no, we can, why can't we sign it at the SAU board meeting on Wednesday night?
I can bring it there. Is everybody attending the SAU board meeting?
Isn't that next week?
It's
if,
The 11th?
that's,
I don't
We're a
know.
week off here.
no.
Yes,
thought it
it
was
is, it's the
Tuesday.
11th, sorry.
All right.
Too far out.
How about, I'll leave
Yeah,
it at the
that's
SAU
that's
for
pretty
Wednesday,
far out.
Thursday, and sometime in the afternoon, we'll mail it out. I think at 4:30 is when we do the mail run or whatever, so.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you, Keith.
And if somebody needs.
And I'll pick a big enough card that we can all sign and everything.
If for some reason somebody needs to do it, I have a key and can get you in if the only time you can get there is after hours.
Yeah, same
Call
case
me.
with me, I live a mile away, so just call my cell phone and we can always swing you in there or something.
Right. Thank you, Keith.
No problem. I'm sorry I have to do that. I wasn't expecting that one.
Yeah, poor Hank, but God love him.
I can say that emotionally, he was very drained on Friday. He was very drained and was saying that he did not feel he could come back even in January to the school board, that he really would need the time off with his kids.
Well, and if that's all we can do to support him, it's not enough.
I agree.
I would entertain a
Oh,
motion,
excuse me, we have one more thing.
please.
We need to appoint an interim district clerk.
We need to advertise for it
Yeah,
and ask for applications, and
Well, we better get going because
we know that there's no way she
Right.
can no longer function in her capacity and has no way to put her resignation in, so
okay.
why don't we go ahead and put out an advertisement for it?
Um,
That doesn't need a motion, you just have to
do we
instruct the
have to do
administration.
that, or can we appoint someone?
let's-
I always think you should ask for applicants. I think if just appointing someone just makes it look like that, you know, we're just trying to sweep it under the rug,
But
move
at
things
this,
forward.
at this point in time, we don't have the luxury of somebody getting on the job training. We
Oh,
need somebody
Well,
who knows what
additionally,
they're
it was a
doing.
contested election, right?
Yes,
it was, yes.
Joanne.
Joanne,
So is it,
It
would
was
it
our-
then be
it was our clerk
appropriate to
previously.
double check with Joanne and see if she would still be interested? I mean, is
We
that, I don't know
could-
if that's
we could make-
appropriate
I
or
guess we
what
could make the
do.
offer saying,
Can
the
I
runner
do-
up,
Can I do this? Let me make a phone call tomorrow. I will tell you the results of that phone call from a procedural standpoint,
Mhm.
okay? I will let all of you know that. And then if it is okay for it simply to be posted if that's necessary, or for us to appoint, any appointment could wait until the next meeting. Okay, so I'll simply let you know what those choices are. And I won't expect any feedback.
Right.
It'll either get, with your consent, on your motion,
there's
we
no
could
motion.
advertise.
You don't need a motion to do
Okay.
that.
Yes,
Can you just let us know so that we can
Right.
place the ad if we need to and not
Absolutely.
lose?
so it'll be one of two things. Either an ad will be placed, if that's what the board is required to do.
Mhm.
If not, then any issue of appointment would have to wait until our next meeting.
The question I have is, I don't have internet access. Are we the appointing authority, or is the school district moderator the appointing authority?
We are.
I'm good. I will find that out to be sure.
Okay.
It's the school board.
It is the school board. Okay.
And if you wanna contact Joanne, see if she's even interested, I have all her personal numbers, just let me know and I'll give them to you.
Okay.
That sounds fishy.
Let's.
Well, as chair, I had to have conversations with her as chair. There's been no improprieties.
In any event, we'll figure out what that solution looks like, and we'll get back to you ASAP. I need a motion to go into non-public pursuant to RSA 91-A, semicolon 32E regarding negotiations.
So moved.
I'll second that.
I need a head nod.
No, you need a yes.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
yes.
yes,
Yep.
yes, yes.
I got yeses on it.
All right. So Tom,
Would you
Jenny?
like me to stay?